All right, welcome. So today, this particular lesson in this video, we're gonna go over how to navigate setup on Salesforce. So again, if we from the last video, I explained it on every video how to get to the module that you're in. So when you first log in, it should take you to in progress module, and you can simply go in there. Right now we're in basic platform basics. That's why it took us here, and it should take us right to where we left off, which is navigate setup. Or you can also, if you were at home, you can also go on to learn and trail mixes. It should take you to the trail mix that you are in. The part of the trail mix that we are in on the basic side is the build your admin career on Salesforce. And that will also take you, if you scroll down, take you down to admin beginner. That's where we left off. And it should bring you into Salesforce Platform Basics, which is, again, same navigate setup. And the last thing you want to do is go to career, which career is right for me. Go to admin and go to skill up. And again, it'll take you to the same setup. Either way, no matter which way you go, there's several ways to finding where you need to go. And one last thing to remind you is, if you click on your icon here, you can open hands-on org, which is basically your sandbox system. I only have one right now, which was initially created by Salesforce, but I can always create a new playground. It does take a few minutes, but you can always create that. Right now, we'll just go ahead and go to home and continue on with where we left off at Salesforce Platform Basics. We're going to go into navigate setup. So this first unit is this is going to be the first unit where we may want to open up our org or instance. So there's an option if sometimes on some exercises there's an option where you can launch it, but when there's just quiz, you won't be able to launch it. So for this exercise, we're going to go ahead and go to, or for this module, we're going to go ahead and go to hands-on, and maybe right-click and open it in new tab, and we'll go ahead and launch the first whatever playground you have, and that should open up an instance of playground. This is what Salesforce is going to look like. So let's now, once you launch, we're going to go back to home to navigate setup. I'll give you guys a few seconds. Now, once you set up, it's going to be, this particular unit is going to just explain how to navigate around setup. So after completing this unit, you should be able to locate setup and identify as key elements, and then identify important menus for customizing your org or organization, and use quick find to access menu items. Pretty simple stuff here. So first, setup your new work home. Earlier, we mentioned that we spent a lot of time in setup during the time at Salesforce admin, and we weren't kidding. Setup is one-stop shop for customizing, configuring, and supporting your org. Since there's so much you can do in setup area, it is important to get comfortable with navigating it. There are a few ways to approach it. As you learn what's available to you, you'll get more comfortable finding the things that you need. So you can get to setup from any page in your Salesforce org, from the gear menu at the top of the right or top of the screen. So we're going to go ahead and go to that instance we launched right here. And if you look on the upper right corner, you'll see like a gear icon. You just simply click on that and press setup. And that should bring you here. So let me go and it should bring it up on a new tab. But let's say we were at the original when you first opened it. The big difference you'll see is, if you look right here, it says sales. And then if we look at the setup, it says setup. So this, even though they both look kind of similar, the setup tells us that we're on the back end at the admin side of it. And if we go back, the sales side tells us that we're on the front end, more like an end user type. Again, we are going to go to setup tab here. Okay, if you notice, that is how you get your setup or go into your setup. Now let's go ahead and get familiar with it. First thing you'll notice, the tab is Object Manager. Object Manager is where you can view and customize standard and custom object in your org. And like we discussed earlier, Object Manager is like a container for all of your applications. So for example, or tabs. So for example, like your account is there. If I click on Object Manager, activity, anything that you can imagine will be under object, and all these will be customizable. You can edit it, but this is where you're going to find all of your objects, and each one of these are called objects. Account is an object, activity is an object, asset is an object, broker is an object, campaign is an object, case is an object. Every single one of these are objects, and they contain records. Okay. So, and then second thing we want to see is the setup menu. The menu gives you quick links to we're going to go ahead and go to home. All of these down here. This menu gives you quick links to a collection of pages that lets you do everything from managing your user to modifying security setting. So if you want to, as an admin, like go to user and add user, you can, this is where you would do, you would do like change your user setting, add users, change their profiles and all of that. Okay. Or any other thing you can do as an admin. But trying to scroll through all of these and trying to find settings, security settings and all of that, that takes too much time, right? So this is why you have quick find box. I can go in here and go to maybe I will type in account, and it will pop up anything with account settings, anything to do with account, right? Or I'll go to user, and it'll give you user settings, user permissions, all of that. So that's where you would find it with quick find box. Okay, and this area right here, this is your main window. We're showing you the setup homepage, but it is where you can see whether it is you're trying to work on. So if, for example, if I go to Object Manager and if I go to account, it should on the main window bring up anything about the object, and there you'll have submenus within the object itself. So setup menu is the trickiest piece of to navigate because there's so many different pages you can access. There are two ways to get where you want to go. If you already have an idea where to look, expand the appropriate menu. Or again, like I mentioned, you can go into quick find box and search. So let's say you wanted to manage your user permission set. I can go to maybe permission set and click on it and get right to the permission sets. Then I can click on whatever the user that I need and change their permission sets. Okay, so let's get a little cozy with the setup menu. There are three main categories in the setup menu: administrator or administration. There's a platform tools and settings. So administration category is where you manage your user and data. You can do things like add user, change permission, import and export data, and create email templates. So again, if we go to home, I'm just going to kill that search. Okay. Now let's talk about platform tools. So in platform tools, Tools. You do most of your customization in platform tools. You can view and manage your data model, create apps, and modify user interface and deploy new features to your users. If you decide to try your hand at programmatic development, platform tool is where you manage your code as well. And then finally, the third is your settings. That's where you manage your company's information and org security. You can do things like add business hours, change your locale, and view your org history. And of course, there are only some of the pages you can access in the setup menu. To get started on the right foot, here are a list of the top 5 setup pages to know. So if we go back, these are the top 5: company information, users, profile, view setup, audit trail, and login history. And all of these you can pretty much type in on your quick menu like this, and maybe I go to profiles and it will bring up profiles, or login history, I can do login history. So anytime you want to find these, quick find or is the best way to go about it. Instead of, you don't really necessarily need to memorize all of this, what's within the folder. Like, I don't need to know that roles are within users or whatever. I can just simply do a quick find. Now going back to the lesson again on company information, why it's a must-see. At a glance view of your org, find your org ID, see your licensing information, and monitor important limits like data and file usage. And like users, you can reset passwords there, create new users, view information about users. Profile is where you would go to see what user profiles are, create custom profiles. You can set up audit trails, see 6 months of change history in your org, find out who made changes and when they made the changes. And then tools for troubleshooting org configuration and issues. And then login history. Finally, login history, you can see 6 months of login history for your org, view date, time, user IP address, more on the security side of this. So that's basically a simple introduction to how to navigate through the setup on Salesforce admin or Salesforce software. And finally, we'll go ahead and take a quiz. Company information page is where you find your org ID and license available and in use, right? Yep, and data and file usage. So I'm going to go ahead and say above or all of the above. What are the 3 main categories in the setup menu? Was admin, platform tools, and settings from what we read. And what is an easy way to find what you're looking for in the setup menu? Type the first few letters of what you're looking for in quick find box. I like that. Click headings and subheadings until you find what you're looking for. Yes, you can find it that way, but that's definitely going to take some time. And then memorize what's in each category. Again, that's not a must to use Salesforce. And then click one of the main categories in the setup menu. Then look at the page to the right. That's not it either. So quick find box is your quickest way. So let's go ahead and check our quiz. We're good to go. Next unit will be power up with App Exchange on the next video. But again, we just got done with Navigate setup, and you were able to see, kind of play around a little bit in real sandbox system here. So more as we go towards next videos and such, we're going to run into, or we're going to be running like more hands-on laboratories than theories behind the software itself. So be ready for that. Get to know your orgs and whatnot. And again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video on the next unit. So have fun, and I'll see you next time.